Hey guys, Eric and Roth here to talk about the final episode of Spartacus Victory. So here's your spoiler warning. We're about to talk about everything that happened at the very end of this series.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it,
don't watch if you don't want to know. First of all, let's just start with this. I cried a little bit. I really did. Did you?
I cried a hell of a lot.
Okay.
I'll fess up to it.
I cried a little bit because I was in the office when I was watching it, and I felt like if I was crying, that would read as a spoiler for Eric.
Right.
And so I was trying to hold it together.
I was home in bed, and I was very emotional. I thought this finale worked great. It had to do a lot in a little time, but I think it really sort of nailed those beats. Gave us what we wanted from Spartacus, gave us the sex, gave us the violence, but really that emotional through line, those characters that we really did care about.
I know, we came for the sex and the violence, and we stayed for the characters. I mean, it's kind of a joke, but it's true of this series. I love that they opened with the throwback to the original film. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus. I loved that moment so much because the truth is, none of them, not even Spartacus, is actually Spartacus.
Oh, yeah.
Spartacus is just an idea, even him.
Right, which he reminded us.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was a great way to throw in that reference. We always wondered if they would do it beyond having Spartacus himself say it, and they did in a great way.
It's not his name.
Spartacus's actual end, I thought, again, it was kind of what you'd want. He went out in this huge battle with sort of the enemy that most respected him.
Yeah.
And that was a great sort of dynamic of it, was Crassus completely respecting this guy.
Yeah, and saying, only if you were Roman and stood beside me, and him saying, oh, I thank God I wasn't. And I was born as I am, even if I'm dying now. But I think what was really important, too, is I did not want to see him die at his hands. I really liked that they were at least able to take him off. And sort of let him die among his people. And the episode is called Victory. And I think it's so beautiful when you think victory for Spartacus, when he comes to realize that it wasn't just revenge, it wasn't just constant blood upon blood upon blood. We've been hearing so much about that. But it was the life that he was able to afford these other people.
It was everyone he saved, yeah. And he kind of got 2 death scenes, because they faked me out. I thought he was done there. He's having the flashbacks to his wife. But yeah, I like that too, that then he did get away and he was with his friends when he died. It was very touching. I thought Liam McIntyre was excellent. When he started on this show, there was a lot of he was stepping into, it was a very hard job for him. And I do think he was figuring it out in that first season that he did, but he was excellent here.
I mean, listen, that was a horrible position for anybody to be in, and it was a tragedy what happened to Andy, but he was great, and I think he totally fulfilled the role in this final season, in this final episode, absolutely.
Yeah, that was excellent. And then Gannicus was interesting. I thought Gannicus was going to make it out.
I did
Because
too.
all season he'd been the reluctant hero figure.
And then he finally took leadership.
And he took leadership, but it was not to be. It was a lot of sad endings here.
I mean, I'm usually pretty good at predicting these things, and I really thought, Stephen tonight, man, you faked me out, because I really thought Gannicus was going to be the one to be the beacon of hope. But what he did was so much better, that the beacon of hope was, again, it wasn't about an individual person. Spartacus was this idea of freedom and equality, and I know I'm sounding really corny, but it's true. Yeah. And that was ultimately the most important thing. Also, though, we did have a loving couple be able to go off together.
Yeah. I just want to say on Gannicus, though, the fact that I also like the crucifixion. I didn't like that he was crucified, but actually was another sort of callback to the film, in that was not Spartacus's fate in this TV series, but it was someone's fate, and Gannicus was such a great hero in his own right.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. And it's true, because historically speaking, I mean, they don't really know what happened, but they think Spartacus was crucified eventually. So I knew there has to be a crucifixion in somewhere, and I thought it was going to be a couple of episodes earlier.
Yeah.
But I think this played out beautifully because the really tragic image to me in that crucifixion, though, was Gannicus, but Kore.
Oh, yeah, Kore. I mean, that was just, everything that happened with Crassus, really, understanding why she did it when he finds out. He believes her. Yeah. He believes that Tiberius did this. He feels terrible about it, and he forgives her. But at the end,
he's going to do what he has to do. And I think that they set up Crassus' character to be that person earlier, when he was willing to potentially sacrifice his son. I mean, the fact that he didn't die in the desecration was just a twist of fate. He could have. He easily could have been one of the ones to die.
Right.
And I don't think he would have stopped that from happening. But I do think there was something about his look to her that said to me, there is a little bit of vengeance here for his son's death. Just a little bit.
You got to wonder that, even though he knows that his son was awful, there's still that family thing.
Yeah.
I will say, there's a possibility of a Caesar and Crassus spinoff. Nothing's set in stone, but I'd be intrigued to see
I would watch it. I love those two characters. I mean, of course, they're the villains of this piece, but DeKnight makes three-dimensional characters.
Very three-dimensionally. The Romans were always a fascinating part of this show. I cut you off earlier, though, when you were going to talk about kind of the hope of the show and where it really lied at the end.
Yeah.
Which I was very happy with myself.
Yeah. Well, our lovebirds are...
Yeah, Agron and Nasir, who... There was a couple who made it through. It didn't seem like it was going to happen. But one couple, both sides made it through.
And I will say that one of the things that I've been happy to see is, like, of course, people have talked about, in that Spartacus, the film sort of had, like, homosexual overtones and things like that. I love the fact that the show had them be a couple just like any other.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, of course they are. Of course they are. But a lot of times that's not treated that way in television. And I was very happy to see them at least make the day and go off together.
Oh, yeah. I mean, by the end of the show, completely they are just one of the many couples on the show and a couple we're rooting for. And the fact that it seemed dire there when Agron said he's going to stay and fight.
When
I
he
thought,
clearly
well,
couldn't.
he's not making it out. But they did both make it out with a couple other characters as well. And that was great to see, especially when Spartacus reminded us that Agron was the last person left with him who fought with him in Vadiatus's, in Ludus. Yeah, Gannicus was there too, but not with Spartacus.
Yeah.
So Agron was his last brother still
He was
there.
his last one standing, and I think that if victory for Spartacus is who he can save, I feel like that's an extra victory for him because he loved him so much, and he was always loyal to Spartacus. He never wavered from that, and he's the next natural leader. You know, but again, it's the idea. It's not the person, but he is the next one to take on this idea, to take on the mantle and lead these people.
Yeah, a lot of symbolism there, and I thought it worked great. I mean, it was pretty, direct, hitting on the head when the rain started, when the bringer of rain died, but it worked with sort of the operatic feel of this show.
Yeah. And that his final piece of glory was seeing his mentor forgive him, and then the final glory of being on the sands again. I thought that was beautiful.
Oh yeah, Gannicus. Everything was full circle for him as well. So lots of emotional stuff there at the end, and I will say that it actually totally got to me was the closing credits. I thought that was so well done, seeing every character from the show, and of course ending on Andy Whitfield, which you felt so right to do.
Yeah, it did. I cried. I hope you did too. I hope you loved it. I think it's a total testament to really the excellent writing of the show, which could have gone another way.
Right. Yeah, I think Spartacus is one of those shows that's underappreciated by some, but will be discovered by many as the years go on. What did you think? Did this finale live up to your expectations? Do you want to see that spinoff happen with Caesar and Crassus? Let us know, guys. Thanks a lot.